Hello, it's me, Mr. Plinkett. You know, Star Wars has been around for nearly 50 years now, and I'm finally coming to the conclusion that I'm not quite sure what it is anymore, or if I even care. It's a weird, ubiquitous cultural thing that has no borders, no exact shape, and no manners. It appears in all forms and products. It has invaded our holidays, our homes.
Hey, honey, you want to watch Star Wars with me?
Busy, Dad.
Our personal lives.
And I hear that you also had a bit of a Star Wars wedding.
We did have a Star Wars wedding.
Our bodies. And our collective mental health.
I'm excited for Star Wars!
I can't seem to read the room anymore, and it's fueled by endless greed and desperate branding and rebranding. It is the ever-changing face of evil.
Look what you have made.
And when a thing is everywhere and omnipresent, it has the danger of also being nothing at the same time. Star Wars used to be simple and fun. It was about Luke, Han, and Leia having adventures fighting the Empire. Alongside them was a cast of colorful and heroic, likable characters, as well as great and memorable villains, too. Watching the films, we laughed, we cried, and we were enthralled by the adventure and amazing, groundbreaking visual effects. Are you old enough to remember a time when people used to say, "You should see that movie, it has amazing special effects"? Now amazing special effects are a prerequisite. Now people complain that the CGI looked bad. Or they say Sonic the Hedgehog's eyes aren't exactly the way I want them to be, so redo it. Boy, oh boy, things have really changed in the last 50 years. Heck, things have changed in the last 10 years. So let's get into it. Number 1. What is a Star Wars? Or rather, what is this video about? I figured it was about time to revisit the Star Wars for a bit since so much has happened. And especially after 2 critical and important turning points, the Acolyte and Andor. Now, I've been watching some of this crap here and there, but with new shows coming out and announcements of new trilogies and things starting and unstarting and being canceled and maybe more Obi-Wan shows, Darth Maul dancing videos, Yoda shows, Baby Yoda movies, Grimace shows. Wait, was he a Star Wars Muppet? Or was that the other guy that was a member of Ronald McDonald's Pleasure Palace Band? Oh, whatever, fuck it. Lego movies, Baby Jedi adventures, kids in Star Wars exposed to extreme violence, and these fan-made AI videos, which I can't even tell if it's real anymore or not. I'm sorry, but is anyone gonna start suing someone yet?
May the Force be with you, always.
I just can't keep up or really even care that much anymore. But I think the breaking point for me was really Andor, and how much it illustrated that Star Wars is really just a very large, expensive ship that's adrift without a captain. It's all very fascinating to me, so I'm gonna ramble on about it while my pizza rolls are in the oven. You know, you gotta cook them just right until the goo starts to come out. If anyone wants a pizza roll, send me a message on X, formerly Twitter, or post on my Insta. DM me on Facebook. Hit me up on Snapchat, or communicate with me through Telegram, WhatsApp, WeChat, Discord, Threads, Mastodon, Twitch, or Blue Sky. Okay, so let's start at the beginning, I guess, from a certain point of view.
A certain point of view?
Number 2, the prequel era.
Your move.
The mindset now with this new generation of young people, I guess in their 20s and 30s, that grew up with the prequels is that the movies were somehow misunderstood or being reevaluated.
Because motherfuckers were in theaters witnessing this peak-ass fight. Like, literally the coolest lightsaber combat we have ever gotten at that point in
As
time.
much as we love the original trilogy lightsaber fights, the duels in the prequels were much better. They're more action-packed, better choreographed, and all around better.
In my first video about the parallels between C-3PO and Anakin, I discussed how Anakin suffers from something called an Oedipus complex.
Or maybe not as bad as we all thought.
Jango Fett, believe it or not, is better than Boba Fett. While Boba may have been the original, Jango is a better fighter.
Nope, still bad.
You overdid it.
Anywho, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. This generation, millennials or Zoomers or whatever the fuck they're called now, have an entirely different perspective than an old-timer like me. You see, for us elderlies, when the prequels came out, there was only the original trilogy to compare them to. Sure, there were some things in between, like that Ewok adventure movie, whatever, novels, comic books, video games, etc. But most normal people didn't waste their time with that shit. Back in the 80s and 90s, nerds weren't cool. And if you were caught reading a Star Wars book in high school, you got your ass beat. To say these films were awkward, badly written, and disappointing is an understatement. Did they do well financially? Yes, of course they did. It was a giant spectacle. Everyone was very excited. Until they weren't. But the films had enough action and visually neat things happening on the screen to satiate audiences. The embarrassing, awkward, lame, strange, annoying, and unfunny outweighed anything cool or well done. I think most rational people can agree with that. We all know at the time that something was wrong, but couldn't quite say what. George had grand ideas about telling a very different type of Star Wars trilogy story, which is admirable, but I think he lacked the skills in the writing department to handle such material, as well as being able to resist his worst impulses. Plus, he hated directing actors.
George doesn't like directing. Period. He told me that.
So why did he direct all 3 films? Why did he write all 3 films? Oh well, whatever. It's too late now. In light of recent developments, it seems to me George wanted to write something like Andor, but probably wasn't able to.
And at the same time, it's how do democracies turn back into dictatorships? Why do people who have the power to have the freedom, turn it over to somebody who's going to take it all away from them?
Which is actually good, because Andor wouldn't work as a 3-film Star Wars trilogy meant for all audiences. It would not work. At all. The original trilogy balanced the more serious elements of the bad guy's plans and actions with levity and things kids can enjoy without going too far in either direction. So what is the secret ingredient that makes Star Wars truly work? Is it taking the subject matter really, really seriously? Is it purely fan service and action-oriented stuff, aka Star Wars porn? A lighthearted approach? Taking new and weird risks? I don't know. Let's discuss further. But first, let's eat.
Hi Harry, it's George Lucas, creator of the Star Wars saga. Listen, I heard you're talking about Star Wars again. Just Misa getting, kind of pissed off. Misa kind of irritated. I warned you about this. I told you, keep Star Wars out of your filthy mouth, but you didn't listen. So I'm gonna give you just one more chance here to just take the video down and just don't move forward with this project, or else I'll be forced to do a force chokehold on you or something. No, but seriously, I will take you for everything you've got, which I know is probably meager at best, but I just I'll do it. I'll do it. This is me worked up. You hear how angry I'm getting, Harry? You hear my...
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
Number 3, the Disney takeover and the sequel trilogy.
It'll give me a chance to go off and explore my own interests, at the same time feel completely confident that Disney will take good care of the franchise I've built. And
don't worry, kids. I'm not done talking about the prequels, but this next part is important. While maintaining control of the Star Wars brand for nearly 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, and only making a few Clone Wars products, George Lucas decided to sell it to Disney of all places. It's ironic, isn't it? Lucas was a man who was always the maverick. He hated the studio system and always fought against it.
George was the kind of maverick from Northern California, an independent filmmaker.
Shut up. No one asked you.
He was always extremely proud that he had very few attachments to Hollywood.
The worst thing that happens when they think they know how to do it, then they start making decisions. The first place I thought was Disney.
In the end, though, he became more machine than man. More ATM machine.
For me, I look at it as I'm investing in Disney because that's my retirement fund.
And sold his baby to the Disney conglomerate for buckets of cash.
I sold them to the white slavers that take these things and
But I digress.
All right, should we rehearse one more time?
To me, it's shocking that such an important new saga in the hands of a large company would wing it, so to speak. And therein was the problem. When I first talked about The Phantom Menace, it was only 10 years after it was released. The big movie out at the time happened to be Star Trek 2009 by J.J. Abrams and friends. Now, this was not a great Star Trek film, but it was a fun space adventure filled with action, emotion, and excitement.
All she's got isn't good enough!
To me, it felt more like a Star Wars movie and less like a Star Trek movie.
Take over. Ben, tell him I'm ready.
Now, J.J. did a fine job directing The Force Awakens, but the script was essentially a rehash, a reboot, retelling, reimagining, restart, whatever you want to call it. Even James Cameron knew it.
I don't want to say too much about the film.
Yeah,
definitely. I also have a lot of respect for J.J. Abrams, and I want to see where they're taking it next. You know, see what they're doing with it.
I'm all the Jedi.
From the perspective of a company that just paid a fortune for this brand name, they needed a movie that had all the elements that made Star Wars successful before.
They looked at the stories and they said, we want to make something for the fans.
You don't kick everything off with a dark and weirdly off-putting movie that will frighten children.
What's happened?
Or something that's too specific. You have a gender-swapped Luke, a cute droid, bad guys that are different, but familiar. And throw in some nostalgia, too.
Is there a big, giant, planet-sized weapon in Force Awakens? Yes. And does it blow up? It does blow up. And so there are undeniable, parallels. I very purposely wanted to sort of revisit the old in order to start and tell the new. And that was the challenge. And again, for those who hate it, I could not respect your opinion more. And for those who love it, I question your sanity.
The film was fun and acceptable, but we were really excited to see where they went next. The problem was they didn't know where they were going next. Anyone with half a brain would have known they needed to plan out the story for the sequel trilogy ahead of time given the stakes. But nope. They rushed that film out so fast it was like launching a roller coaster. But the rest of the track wasn't done being built. Then Kathleen Kennedy said she had a 5-minute meeting in a tiny broom closet with Ryan Subvert Your Expectations Johnson. And when they came out of the meeting, she said, "He's our guy for the next film." Now, I don't want to be cynical. That's not my thing. But I have a feeling that in addition to saying all the platitudes like he loves Star Wars, it changed his life, and he's loved it ever since he was a baby and all that crap, he probably also told her that we can't have these elderly whites be the heroes again.
He was coming from a place of a filmmaker in 1977. And we're filmmakers in 2019, and a lot has changed in the world.
The generation of people that watched Luke, Han, and Leia are aging out. We gotta get to the kids. If you want your Star Wars to thrive, you've gotta skew younger. Have diverse characters. Have a glaringly obvious lesbian who tells the hotshot alpha male that he's an idiot. Hint at a gay or straight romance to come. But no sex. Sex makes Zoomers cringe. No creepy macho white cis-het alpha male stuff either. Oh, and add an Asian gal too. Haven't had one in the Star Wars yet. And no kissing. Kissing is sus, and can only be done with permission or it's SA and problematic. Sex? Absolutely not. What were you thinking, bro? Also, kill your main bad guy to shock the audiences and ensure you've fucked yourself, story-wise. Don't forget to add social commentary on the wealth gap, too. People love that, especially kids. Kids love seeing a universe where they could potentially be slaves. Now, The Last Jedi left them in a position where they didn't have their big bad Snoke anymore. So what do we do now? I don't know. Oh, God. What do we do? Get JJ back. He'll only do it if he could write it? Sure, have him write it too. Slap together something with the Emperor. We haven't used him yet.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
But the Emperor died. Who cares? Just finish it. Pocket Dimension with 10 million Star Destroyers? Sure. Palpatine clones in jars? Why not? Wait. We've never had a black female character in Star Wars. We forgot about that demographic. Hurry, shove one in there.
We don't have the time.
Or the choice.
Now what do we do with all these goddamn characters we shoved in these movies? Have them ride horses in space. What about Rose and the romance between her and Finn? Or a romance between Finn and Poe?
We're gonna do this. Yeah?
Also no sex. Sex makes Zoomers cringe. Wait, did Rey and Kylo Ren have sex? Oh no, they fell in love and they kissed. That's not gonna age well. Oh wait, he died. Who cares? But Anakin and Padme kissed on the lips. And maybe went further because they made babies. Ew, ultra sus and cringe. This isn't gonna age well either. Does Finn want to bone the horse girl? Who cares? Let's just finish this shit so we could start making shows. Hurry up before the pandemic starts.
What now?
Now, I've said all this crap before in one way or the other, so what's my point? I'm bringing this back to the prequels. The recent rethinking of the Star Wars prequels doesn't really come from a place of discovering that they were really great and misunderstood films. I mean, sure, you can explain away anything, really, as having a secret meaning or intention, like a horoscope, or the quatrains of Nostradamus. You can interpret that in any way you want. The act of going back to the prequels and saying that they were really good is partially nostalgia from those who were children at the time.
I don't understand.
But it's also a rejection of the modern Disney era and the corpo think of it all. With the prequels, George Lucas was in charge. He was the visionary of those films, and despite all their flaws and cracks and the terrible decisions he made, those movies were his. And this younger generation might be skewing back towards pure art that's flawed, rather than shiny but soulless corporate products. Now, many years out from the conclusion of the sequel franchise, I can honestly say I can't recall much from those films. Maybe BB-88, the soccer ball. I remember Rey made some kind of weird gray bread, and then she lived in an old AT-AT walker. There was a cartoon creature with butthole eyes, and someone rode a horse through a casino planet. I certainly remember Zombie Palpatine, but this I don't remember. Or this? Or this?
It was all for nothing. All we've done. All this time.
But the visuals and characters from the prequels are distinct and actually memorable. Got Darth Maul, Gungans, battle droids, Dexter Jetster, Palpy being Palpy, long neck guy, arena monsters with cartoon/cat, Jedi Council room, salamander dreadlock guy, clone making aliens from the water planet, gooberfish, Obi-Wan floats, Bingo Fett, Obi-Wan silly spaceship, Count Dooku, Mace Windu cuts off Boba Fett's head, and of course, Jar Jar Binks. Movies and franchises today are less and less run by a singular weird and embarrassing man, more run by committees.
We couldn't be more thrilled to present the exciting new series, Willow.
And teams of market research people, focus groups, and pollsters that all meet up at a fascist political rally to pump up their base.
I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. Doesn't that feel so good?
Would Disney put a third-rate CGI Count Chocula in a film? Probably not. So what the prequel revisionists are saying is that if you squint really hard, you could see what George was going for, which was odd and different, and attempting to say something about good and evil in a new way. Evil in the original trilogy was black and white. In the prequels, it was something that was creeping and hidden. While this is a good idea in theory, it was still not well achieved in my opinion. The attempt is more admirable than recycled shiny corpo slop. Number 4, Star Wars continues and continues and continues.
Luke Skywalker has jumped from the entertainment page to the front page of North America's newspapers. You can't escape from Star Wars mania.
Star Wars has morphed from a worldwide cultural phenomenon to a business model for a streaming platform.
What happens when there's something new? People have a tendency to overdo it. They abuse it.
But Harry, you say, movies have always been a business. Yes, that's true. Movies need to make money to be made in the first place. But I think if you asked every person on Earth in the 1970s and 80s, they probably would have heard of Star Wars. Ask anyone to name Darth Vader and they probably could. Even precious starving African children. There was a movie and subsequent trilogy of movies and characters the world embraced and shared together. Like the Beatles or Elvis or polio. In more recent times, especially since the pandemic, most of Star Wars is on the Disney Plus streaming app, which are primarily only series now, just to keep you subscribed. And if you have the Disney Plus app, you can watch all the Star Wars you want, movies and shows. Pre-pandemic, Disney did some shows, but mainly alternated between spin-off movies with the sequel trilogy entries. There was Star Wars The Force Awakens, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, Star Wars The Last Jedi, Solo, a Star Wars story, Star Wars Resistance, Mandalorian, Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker. Then post-pandemic, it's been nothing but shows, exclusive to Disney Plus. The Book of Boba Fett, Star Wars The Bad Batch, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, Ashka, Star Wars Tales of the Empire, The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, Star Wars Tales of the Underworld. Now, a dear colleague of mine once suggested that the Star Wars brand should make exclusive movies for smaller private audiences and charge way more than a normal movie ticket.
And then to see the film, we charge each person between $150 and $200.
What?
And essentially that kind of became true. That's what Disney Plus basically is. I'll let that same colleague of mine explain further.
Hello, it's me, Scientist Man. As of this recording, there are 126 million worldwide subscribers to Disney Plus. That makes up about 1.57% of the world's population. Here are the numbers broken down by country.
Where? Does this count towards my court-ordered community service?
Yes. India, 52 million. United States, 42 million. Brazil, 8 million. The United Kingdom, 7.5 million. Mexico, 6 million. Indonesia, 6 million. Germany, 5 million. Who cares? Now, are people in India really digging on the multiverses of Marvel? Watching Inside Out? Star Wars? Or perhaps other Disney products? Sure, maybe some of them are. But the high subscriber rate is due to the fact that in India, Disney has paired up with Hotstar, and that's the only way they can watch cricket.
Into the final of the World Cup 2023.
It's kind of like Disney pairing up with ESPN here in the US. It's all business, you see. Smoke and mirrors. Bundled subscriptions and lies. The US does come in second with 42 million subscribers, but out of that number, how many of those subscribers are just soccer moms looking to put on Disney Plus for their kids to watch while they do laundry and dishes?
I only have Disney Plus because I signed up 2 years ago and forgot my password. I wish somebody would wash my dishes.
Now, if you break that 126 million figure down even further by what percentage of people are watching what on Disney Plus, according to my research and calculations, about 20%, now let's be kind, 40% of all Disney Plus users subscribe to the service just to watch Star Wars products.
I like Star Wars.
Me too!
Shut up, So now, if you calculate that out of the 126 million worldwide Disney Plus subscribers, only 50.4 million of them are watching Star Wars products exclusively, that makes the global population of Star Wars watchers on the Disney Plus streaming app 0.63%. That's less than 1%. So Star Wars really has become a private product meant for the world's elite rich 1%, bitch.
So I guess my point is a whole chunk of the global population can't afford a Disney Plus monthly streaming service. But even poor people can see a movie every now and then. Even starving African children. Movies were escapism even during the Great Depression. In the olden days, TV shows were free, as long as you had a TV that was in range of a broadcast signal, and you could go see a movie of your choice for a nickel. Now things are different, very different. And essentially, Disney has done just what I suggested. Make premier content for the world's elite population, just like their theme parks.
Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser is the first of its kind experience in the world. It's an immersive adventure. It is part interactive game. It is part live action role play. It's part
people have a tendency to overdo it.
Things kind of rolled into one in a package that hopefully presents to you a seamless, organic Star Wars adventure. We want you to really feel like you're a character in Star Wars and really having a meaningful impact on what happens.
Now, obviously, out of all this content, there's way too much to get into. People either love it or hate it.
What was the point of that scene?
And boy, oh boy, do they sure love to talk about it.
I think it's the best. And like that game,
it's happened.
The Mandalorian, deep fake Luke, Baby Yoda, or Baby Grok, or whatever it's called. The lame, slow, fat Boba Fett, Obi-Wan's fish market, Coyote Mundi's birthday party, Darth Vader grabbing a spaceship when he didn't grab a spaceship before, Leia's lame chase scene from Flea. I don't know what Ashka was, but some kind of alien. But in any case, Disney continues to throw spaghetti at the wall with all these shows and movies and planning of them and announcing them. You see, announcements help to gather interest ahead of time.
ここ日本なので、日本の雰囲気のあるお祭り感覚で一緒に写真が撮れる、そういう空間を明日は作るので、ぜひカメラを持って。
When Patty Jenkins was hot off her Wonder Woman movie, they announced she was going to direct something called Rogue Squadron. Remember that? I guess she was going to do it because her father was a fighter pilot? Some of this shit could be rumor or speculation, or even just stuff that was on the table but eventually scrapped.
I would imagine a lot of people have been waiting to hear, what are we doing with Star Wars movies?
Let's take a look. Remember all of this? Colin Trevorrow was to direct Episode 9, and it was going to be called Duel of the Fates. Guillermo del Toro, Jabba the Hutt movie.
We have the rise and fall of Jabba the Hutt, so I was super happy.
What happened? You know, Guillermo and Star Wars and you seems like a no-brainer to greenlight. What happened?
There was just a lot of going on at Lucasfilm at the time.
Cancel Game of Thrones guys, Star Wars trilogy. Cancel Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy. Failed Rangers of the New Republic. Scrapped. Kevin Feige produced Star Wars movie rumor.
What's up with the Star Wars movie? Is it happening? I know that's like... Is it happening?
Any Star Wars movie?
Yours.
No. Damon Lindelof's elderly Rey Skywalker movie. Not happening. A different Rey Skywalker movie.
I'm very thrilled to be continuing this journey.
Postponed indefinitely. But to me, out of the stuff that actually got made, the most interesting of the new Star Wars, from a critical and cultural point of view, is certainly Andor and the Acolyte. And since you're watching this video, it means you're probably in the literal 1%er bubble with me. Let's talk about them. Now, these two shows made waves, but for very different reasons. Let's get into it. First up, the Acolyte.
Yes.
Hi, Harry. It's George Lucas, creator of the Star Wars saga, calling you again. Listen, man, you got to do me a solid here. You know, I mean, you're comparing Star Wars, you know, my saga. You're comparing that to the Acolyte, Bantha Poodoo. You know, this space witch claptrap bullshit. I mean, are you kidding me? You got to be kidding. You're killing me. You're just killing me. All right, listen. All right, you win. You know what I mean? You got the higher ground. Okay. All right. You made your point. Just please, you got to stop this whole project. It's just I can't. I have nothing to do with this. Disney, a bunch of white slavers. They totally shut me out. I had some great ideas for the new Star Wars pictures, and they didn't want anything to do with that. And this is what they came up with? Are you serious? This forbidden love with some couple of annoying twin girls who know how to do the Force, and some Asian Jedi. You think you can't understand what Jar Jar is saying? I couldn't understand a word that guy was saying. You know, I know he's a great.
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
Number 5. Gen Alpha is rethinking the Acolyte. It's true. Wait, is it? Those articles are already in the works, set to be written a few years from now. Trust me. But yeah, did we all rush to judge the Acolyte too quickly? When the Acolyte came out, the microphone bros were quick to get mad about it.
The power of many. The witches. So many people left after that episode.
Witches are now making children without men.
Baseline, fundamental storytelling elements.
It doesn't say anything. Usually it would say born right here. Doesn't say anything about born on Wikipedia. They're trying very hard to cover for this.
Most of it's just regurgitating exposition. You know.
It's not as bad as Book of Boba Fett yet, but it's well on its way. It's on its way.
How dare this lesbian make a Star War?
I think it's canon that R2-D2 is a lesbian.
How dare no one invite them to Coyote Mundi's birthday party?
But the biggest point is that this motherfucker should not be alive. This show takes place over 130 years BBY, before the Battle of Yavin. The problem is, Ki-Adi-Mundi shouldn't have been born for another 40 years.
A fat Jedi? Soy boy Jedi? Black chick never changed her hairstyle since she was 8. Oh great, now there are 2 of them? But the truth is, the Acolyte is actually the closest thing to the prequels since, well, the prequels. Generally speaking, I think people aren't really sure what they want from Star Wars. Something new and different, or more of the same. More of the same can be comforting, and new and different can be challenging at first, but once settled into, can become a comfort. Now, remember when I read that list of shows and movies that came out since Disney took over? We had a seemingly endless slew of rehashed stuff and characters and things we knew and recognized in the form of Boba Fett's and Luke's, and Stormtroopers and AT-ATs and Darth Vaders, X-Wings, Death Stars, and Star Wars porn, IG-88s and Obi-Wans fighting Vaders again. Was some of it pretty good? Sure. Was a lot of it kind of meh? Yeah. Then came along the Acolyte. Set in the year negative 10,000 BBY or whatever, 100 years before the prequels. First of all, thank goodness. We probably won't run into too many things we know and recognize, except for a little cameo by Yoda and Kool-Aid Mundi. But the harsh response to the Acolyte came in part by the idea that the show had somehow made Star Wars woke, but also that the idea the Jedi could somehow be corrupted or be capable of maintaining a conspiracy was blasphemy. I mean, I don't know. Setting aside the canon from the novels and games and whatnot, what did we really know about the Jedi from the original trilogy and the prequels?
They want me to spy on the Chancellor. This assignment is not to be on record.
Obi-Wan told us that the Jedi were the guardians of truth and justice and the American way.
For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic.
We learned in the prequels that the Jedi are a bunch of weird people that have purged emotions in order to run around and meddle in other people's affairs. Sort of outdated part of the Republic. They took kids away from their parents and raised them in what looked to me like a weird religious cult. All of this, by the way, literally came from Yoda casually tossing out that Luke was, quote, too old to begin the training. That was because he just didn't feel like training him because he was so old and just wanted to die. But for me, after thinking about the events in the Acolyte and how Sol accidentally killed Osha's ghost mother and decided to never tell her so he could turn her into a Jedi, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the Jedi conspiracy. That was quite clever. I'm okay with lying. Sure beats the alternative, telling that little girl that you killed her ghost mother, and then have her become so angry she becomes an evil Sith. But it also beats the Jedi sitting around in a circle, being completely useless and unaware that Palpatine is obviously plotting to take over the Republic.
What?
You see, people view the prequels in one of two ways. That there's some kind of high art that's filled with literary and philosophical references that are so way out of your league you won't understand them unless you have a PhD.
I don't think so.
Or they're corny, melodramatic, serial sci-fi schlock. I lean towards the latter.
Not again. Obi-Wan's gonna kill me.
In retrospect, I kind of see the Acolyte the same way. When it started, I was shocked at how dumb that first scene was. May walks right into a western saloon and finds Carrie-Ann Moss chilling with some villains. She hits her in the heart with a little tiny dagger. What? Did that even go through her robes? Kind of poetic, but also kind of silly. At the start of the Phantom Menace, they bust out their lightsabers to fight some gas. This is just embarrassing. Or it was dumb when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon just kind of jumped in front of a bunch of battle droids to rescue the Queen. I thought they'd do something a little more clever. I think there's a large segment of the audience that wanted more epic Star Wars stuff.
It's garbage, and I expect this score will continue to creep down and down and down because they just can't stop doing retarded things.
They want to see more awesome Jedis doing awesome things, like having huge battles and fighting with Darth Violence and Darth Death Breath. But all we got was Soy Boy, and Fatty, and Premature Baldy. However, the prequels illustrated that Jedis could be anyone, really. Long necks, elderlies, guys with floppy head snakes, blind people, little lady muppets, guys with snake legs, tiny creatures that have to work really, really hard to fight someone who is 6'5". Now, we did see a few tough male Jedi in the Acolyte, but hey, maybe this guy is like really good at using the Force. Or maybe Fatty was a secret alien who was large because when it came time to battle, he split into two thinner Jedis, each with two lightsabers. Imagine that. He could fight Darth. What's that guy's name with the 6 arms? Not Plagueis. What's his name? What's that guy's name? That guy with the 6 arms, a robot. Obi-Wan shot him in his heart. General Grievous. That's it. He's not a Darth. He's a general, but he has lightsabers. Was it Darth General Grievous? In any case, without getting too into the story, which also paralleled the prequels in themes of conspiracy, creeping evil, a secret Sith, and events that lead a child to turn to the dark side, there are many, many similarities that make the prequels and the Acolyte feel like Star Wars kissing cousins, or kissing siblings. These similarities are both in visual, plot, and style. Younglings in training. A virgins in the Force. The Force is midichlorians. The Force is lesbian witch magic. Yoda is clueless. Large bugs. A distraught or anxious Padawan leaves on a speeder. Nemoidians. Everyone is stupid and no one knows what's going on. R2-D2 and Osha both fix a spaceship from the outside. 2 Jedis board a Nemoidian ship. A Force test is given to a child with the picture mind-reading device thing. 2 gals that look the same switch clothes to be deceptive. Shirtless hunks. Hubba hubba. A phantom menace of sorts. Hologram interference about an important message that doesn't get through. Showing off by using the Force or the thread to float around a piece of fruit. A little kid in their journey to the dark side. A big fire. Bunch of Jedi in a fight that eventually gets slaughtered. Soul promises to train Osha. Qui-Gon promises to train Anakin. Secret bad guy attempting to groom a new apprentice.
Who was his father?
Where is their father?
There was no father.
They have no father.
So I'm not quite sure what the Acolyte was attempting to do, to be honest. Or who it was trying to appeal to. Was it trying to be a serious, dramatic Star Wars program? Were the creators just having fun with their own fanfic? Were they trying to do something different with a bit of romance and drama or whatever? I really don't know or care. But after stewing on it, what I do know, it's not as bad as I remember. And Gen Alpha is now revisiting it and reevaluating it after fond memories from their youth. It was cool to jump back 100 years and get away from it all. Kind of like a vacation. It also dealt with what I thought was kind of an interesting subject I haven't seen explored in Star Wars before. What do the Jedi do when a group of thread-using witches start training children? What is the law or ethics of this kind of situation? The Jedi don't own the Force.
Someday those noble intentions you all have will destroy every Jedi in the galaxy.
Is that how the Jedi should be? I don't know. Maybe?
You know, I didn't come in and say, like, what about baby Han Solo? You know what I mean? Like, it was like, I was like, what I'm really interested in is Star Wars from the perspective of the bad guys. Therefore, if we set something earlier in the timeline, something before the prequels, but a little bit after, end of High Republic, I was like, then the Jedi become, because Star Wars is always about rebels versus institutional threat, right? Underdogs versus huge empire, right? So if we set it then the Jedi become the antagonists. Not the bad guys, but they become the bad guys to the bad guys.
Somebody asked George Lucas, what's his opinion? I really don't know, but it's something different. I mean, the Jedi's had good intentions, but it just went awry, Did it have the best fight choreography? I know some people analyzed the fight choreography and tried to find flaws in it, but I don't care.
Aiming for each other's lightsabers low. Aiming, what are they aiming for at all? They're just aiming for nothing as well as the apprentice lightsabers.
Action.
Jackie wasn't even in that position.
How does a fire spread on concrete or in space? I mean, I'm not one to nitpick, but who gives a fuck?
We're doing Star Wars, baby!
What I know is that I and many others, including Gen Alpha, are starting to rethink the Acolyte. And in my opinion, I'd like to see more of it.
Hey, set up a perimeter, a 5-click perimeter. And then all of the Jedis just follow each other. They all just start following Basil. There's 40 people following Basil. And then I
expect a fucking circle. Do you know what a fucking perimeter is?
Yes, yes.
Number 6. Andor has ruined Star Wars. And Star Wars has ruined Andor. Andor has ruined Star Wars for me. But wait, you say, I thought it was good. Well, that's the problem. It's too good. Andor was not only the best Star Wars show, but one of the best shows in recent years. Is Rogue One still bad? Yes. Very much so. It's horrifically dumb. It doesn't hold a candle to the Andor series. And Andor was smart enough to just replace Jimmy Smits with a totally different actor. They didn't feel the need to make him a dated and embarrassing cartoon. I gave the audience credit for being slightly intelligent. Anyway, Andor is the perfect science fiction show. A show that accurately reflects the historical struggles of the oppressed and the oppressors that oppress the oppressed. Concepts of tyranny, fascism, bureaucracy, freedom, rebellion, resistance, all without being too on the nose or preachy. And a main character whose arc is very well developed over 2 seasons. Throw in some awesome spy stuff, amazing and smart adult dialogue and situations, fantastic acting, tense and awesome action sequences, and you've got yourself a great fucking show.
What is that?
However, whenever they say Palpatine or Death Star, I laugh.
I spoke with Emperor Palpatine last night.
The show really isn't Star Wars per se. It's a smart dystopian sci-fi show with the Star Wars name on it. When seeing the absolute brutal reality of this universe, and I think back to the wacky adventures of Luke, Han, and Leia, it doesn't quite mesh well. The Flash Gordon serials don't work well as a continuation of 1984. So what's the problem exactly? I guess there really isn't a problem. The show is called Andor because it's about Cassian Andor learning to become a rebel. And while at first he's an opportunist looking out only for himself, he changes into a man that will give the ultimate sacrifice to save others. A sacrifice he gives to a cause. A sacrifice that caused him years and years of endless suffering. Only for a farm boy from Tatooine who has been in space for less than 12 hours to blow up the Death Star and get all the credit. The Andor show is about a very long-term plan to secretly build and power a Death Star.
Luthen was called to an emergency meeting. The source told him he just learned that the Emperor's secret energy project was the cover story for the manufacture of a weapon.
That was designed with a secret flaw by a genius engineer named Galen Erso. So that... Wait a minute. I thought wacky space bugs designed the Death Star 20 years ago. Did Galen Erso just take those plans and then just add the secret shaft that you had to shoot a torpedo in? The flaw, or he changed the bug's design? I don't know. I can see the plans right there. They're all done. These alien bugs seem... But yeah, all the drama, the sacrifice and death surrounding stopping the Empire, and specifically with Andor stopping the Death Star, and it's solved rather quickly. Then to add insult to injury, less than a year later, they've almost got another Death Star built. Then after all that sacrifice, many, many years later, there's another empire called the First Order, with another Death Star that's even bigger. Well, I appreciate what you did, Andor, but, you know, it's like that time I worked at Chili's and they wouldn't give me a raise, so I burned down the building. They just built another Chili's a week later, and then a year later they built a giant Chili's right next door to that Chili's. The only good thing is, while starting that fire, I didn't kill myself in the process. Sorry, Andor, thanks for your sacrifice. Number 7, in conclusion. So what am I saying here? I'm saying Andor, especially Season 2, is a fantastic show that's so well done, but in the back of my mind it's hard to truly love it, because everything else in Star Wars is so uneven.
Uh-oh. It's not good.
I know in different iterations of Star Wars, these villains are portrayed as everything from horrifically terrifying, to moderately scary, to kind of lighthearted and a bit goofy, to downright silly. Andor and Star Wars Legos exist in the same universe, in the same canon. I can't quite wrap my head around that. Like I said earlier, a ship adrift without a captain. The attempts to appeal to all demographics have in essence nullified the art and believability of the Star Wars universe. It's like in Star Trek. From the original series all the way to Star Trek Enterprise, they kept the universe and canon mostly intact, with a few forgivable exceptions.
Those are Klingons?
They are Klingons. And it is a long story.
Then everything changed post Star Trek 2009 and onward, from singing and dancing, to bizarre misunderstandings of canon, to puppets. Everything turned into shit. In Star Wars after Disney, it was kind of the same thing, minus the spaceships and locations. At least they respected all of that. I love the look of Andor and the 1970s technology. No need to add this kind of bullshit and fuck with something that was just perfect. There is no reimagined Millennium Falcon from one time period or different universe or any shit like that. It's the same damn ship and it always looks the same. I guess as most movie franchises expand, they start to fall apart. This is really nothing new. Different creatives, different artists, different writers, different attempts to appeal to different demographics, blah, blah, blah. Nothing can be truly perfect. Along the way, someone will always fuck something up. But what are next for Star Wars? A Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Star Wars Starfighter? Dawn of the Jedi movie? More Filoni baloney? A new Jedi Order movie? I don't know. More shows, more cartoons. So is it all becoming too much? Too quickly? What's the point of an endless struggle against the Empire, Second Order, Third Order? When does this shit stop? But this is all just my opinion. Clearly, there are people that still watch and love Star Wars content. And I think you can fill a convention hall with a group of people obsessed with anything, really. A large crowd of weird, obsessed people certainly makes your brand look better. It's kind of like a political rally. But hey, if it makes all of them happy and they truly love this stuff, then fantastic. And if Disney has found a way to not oversaturate the market and turn Star Wars into a viable and profitable product, well, fine too. Will it ever be as magical as it once was? No. It's all just become way too much for me, and I can't keep up with it anymore. Farewell, Star Wars. It's been fun. You made me happy for a while. But you know the saying, all good things must come to an end.
All right, with me now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh!
We can also experiment. As you can see, there's a huge amount of variety to what we're doing. We can move through timelines, even though we want to make sure that these stories actually continue to
coming
inform
early
what's
next
come
year, there's going to be an
before, but also
all-new
surprise us
audio
what
original,
happens further
and it's
down
entitled
the
The
timeline.
Battle
So
of Jeddah.
That's what we aspire to. That's what it
The LEGO Star Wars Summer 2025 wave has quickly become one of, if not the most controversial in the entire theme's history. This is due to a couple of main
We've got a working transport crane that can lower
This
to the
week
ground.
and every week, tune in for This Week in Star Wars.
But in my world, nerds are shit.
Check out all the Star Wars news. It's a new year, and that means new stories in Star Wars.
That's right.
I question your sanity. Get out of here!
People have a tendency to overdo it. They abuse it.
People who are neurodivergent in some ways, as I am, we recognize a lot of ourselves in droids.
You know, I actually do really like sand.
Look what you have made. With a CT number inside the van.
We'll always be with you.